Welcome, Owen Williams and Dakota Starr from Priscilla, the Party.
G'day.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to Kevjet.
Thanks so much for having us.
I'm so excited to have you guys. It's such a great party. It's the party in London right now.
Oh my gosh, can we put that on the poster, Kevin?
I thought it
Kevin from
was.
Kevjet said it is the party in London. Amen to that.
Whatever Kevin thinks should be what London thinks, I think.
Are you talking on behalf of the whole city?
Of
'Cause I'll
course.
take it.
Yeah. How much fun are you having?
Oh my gosh, we are having an absolute ball. And I'm going to speak on behalf of Dakota, myself, and the whole cast in that we've been having a ball since the beginning of rehearsals, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been a blast. It's really as much fun as it looks.
Yeah, I mean, you've got all the campery, all the costumes, the heart of the story, the craziness of being an immersive production. I'm sure you can hear in the background now, like this is a live working venue in the middle of Soho. There are bands rehearsing upstairs for other events. We're downstairs performing this amazing show. The audiences have been so receptive. I mean, I keep saying to people, I'm living the dream, literally.
It's been a wild ride, hasn't it? It's been really exciting.
What was your first thought when the script came through?
Well, I saw Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, the original musical in the West End when it was on with Jason Donovan playing the role that I'm now playing, and I absolutely loved it. Like the movie has got such a cult following, but I'd never seen it, so the musical was my first experience. So I was very, very excited when the audition came through and to be up for the role of Tick/Mitzi, which was a role I saw it originally. I would have been too young to play, but now
I like
I'm
how
in
you
my
threw that
daddy
in.
era, Kevin.
I like how you threw that in.
Yes, exactly. Whereas now, I'm in my daddy era. I've grown up a bit, and a fun story for you. In my final audition, they wanted to de-butch me. Wow, can you believe that?
I cannot.
Nah, well, I'm so butch apparently. So they wanted to put me in heels, and they put me in Jason Donovan's heels. So I took that as a very good
I was
omen.
going to say, there's a sign.
Yeah, I was
Things
like,
were going well.
the Priscilla gods want me.
The magic happened.
Yeah.
And I was very much the other way around. That I knew the film quite well, but had never seen the musical and had no idea what songs were in it, and just knew sort of nothing about the stage show really. So it became a very rapid Googling when I got the audition through to find any clips of the South Korean version just to see what it looks like. So that was fun. And yeah, this is the first time I've auditioned for a trans part in the room. I've done a couple of self-tapes in the past for things. And just sort of nervously sent those off into the ether and hoped they landed on someone's desk who was kind and discreet. This is the first time I've auditioned in the room for a part that I'm sort of authentically close to. So,
and you're playing Bernadette. I mean,
yeah.
What else could you ask for?
Yeah, I mean, it's a dream of a role. Yeah, and as a non-binary transgender person, it's just such a gift. You have a moment where I came out of 41. And there's a moment where you come out where you think, well, that might be the end of my career. I might be done. They don't write parts for people like me. And then this falls in your lap, sort of 2 years later. So it's been pretty wild.
Amazing. And so I guess you can see yourself in this character.
Yeah, there are echoes. Like, I mean, she's a trans woman, which I'm not. So obviously there are limits to which I relate. But seeing someone, essentially getting a chance to portray someone who grew up in a body that they don't feel they belong in.
That's what I was getting at. Yeah.
Yeah, not comfortable in that presentation is really chimes with me, and has chimed with me more as we've gone along, and as my sort of closeness to the character I'm playing has developed, and my understanding of her has developed. It's become even more sort of significant to me. So yeah, it's been really exciting.
Do you get aha moments while you're on stage?
Yeah, we really do. Yeah, there are moments of for me, it's a lot of the heartbreaking moments, to be honest. There's a lot of moments where Bernadette relates to one of the other two drag queens and either has to lift them up or hold them while they're down and low. And that's really hit for me, because I've grown up in a very sort of cis heterosexual sort of adolescence and world. I didn't grow up in a queer community, so I don't sort of feel that I have that. Prior to this, I hadn't really felt that I have that connection to a lot of queer people, and being able to play the matriarch figure, holding someone through their crisis moment, has been really eye-opening for me.
There's been something really cool in the generational gap between the three parts. That, not that I'm calling Dakota old, I'm just saying it's very interesting that there's, well, in early rehearsals, I called us mother, Dakota, Bernadette, father, me, Tick, and then baby, which is the marvelous Reese Kerridge, who plays Adam/Felicia. So there's these three representations of different generations of queerness. And actually, I think the three of us have a strong connection to our characters off stage as well. And there's been this real, I don't know about you, Dakota, but I'm really relating to what you're saying in that I've learned through Tick's journey stuff about my own acceptance of, I identify as a gay man. So I've been learning about my own acceptance of my queerness and, bits of shame that I still hold around that, the internalized homophobia that, I've done work around, but it still exists. And I'm learning, because this is a very queer space, actually. A lot of the cast are part of the rainbow, a lot of the crew, the creatives. So it's been such a wonderful place to learn. And not only have I learned from, and I use this with love, my elders, people who've been around longer than I have, such as Dakota, but also from the young queer kids, who's like, this is their first West End gig, but they're so much more advanced in some ways with their self-acceptance. It's been...
they're very secure in themselves, which is so admirable and so inspiring.
I had this conversation last night with a podcast guest, an actor in Hollywood, and we had this exact same conversation where the younger generation are just so free and open, and our generation, we're kind of I still have those moments where I meet somebody new and you have to tell them you're gay, and it's almost like coming out again. So every time you meet a new person, it's coming out. And if you had any hard feelings during that time in your life, that sort of comes back each time you meet a new person.
You're sort of picking a scab every time you have to have that conversation. Sure.
Yeah. And I think it's a wonderful thing to see with the younger generation.
And it's I was sort of inspired to come out in some ways by watching things like Drag Race and seeing these young queer performers who were so in touch with their identity that they would say, oh, I'm a native Canadian two-spirit, you call it gender fluid, our community call it two-spirit, and I like to perform as a woman, but I don't want to live as a woman. And like having these gradations of knowing themselves so intricately was wild to me and really admirable. So that was that started a lot of conversations for me, which was nice.
I bet it has. Maybe if we just quickly hear a little bit about your history, your career history. So let's start with Dakota.
Sure. I graduated from LAMDA, which is a drama school.
A fancy one, a very fancy one.
A very fancy school. In 2008. So I've been out for a minute, but it turns out. And I was always told when I graduated, you're going to need to tread water until you're about 40, and then you'll start working. So keep trying to build, sorry for the noise. Keep trying to build a career, but essentially I've looked like this since I was about 16. So it was like, you look older than you are, you carry yourself older than you are, like your casting's going to come, but hang in there. So I did really. I did theatre jobs and bits of TV and little jobs here and there really, and lots of regional theatre, just to try and stay alive and build a career. And then got very lucky getting being someone who didn't train in musical theatre and was very uncomfortable singing in audition rooms and in public. I then got a job in Calendar Girls the musical, which came out of the blue, which was fun, and that was my first sort of foray into the West End, and last actually until this job. So let's not investigate that too closely.
I did read you were in Doctors. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've done Doctors and Emmerdale, and I did a film with Jim Broadbent and Helen Mirren. That was fun. I had 3 lines in a film, and I didn't know when I went to watch it in the cinema whether I'd been cut or not. But I
Oh.
had not. So yeah, a film called The Duke that I've.
Can you give us one of the lines now?
No, I can't. I really daren't. Because if I misquote it, we'll get letters. So no, I won't. Although the director of that film was a lovely man called Roger Michelle, who's since passed away, sadly. And we did, he made me feel incredibly welcome. It was one of their last days of filming. And we turned up and did a read through of the scene around a table before, like in a side room, before going into this courtroom and doing the actual scene. And he turned to the rest of the cast after we read it. I said, now, thank you all very much. Now, we must all thank Dakota very much, because Dakota has the worst part in the entire film. And you're doing such a wonderful job of it, but it really is a waste. And so I replied, well, if you have any other worst parts in films, I'm the actor.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was
Call me.
incredibly charming and kind and disarming. So that was lovely.
Amazing. Owen, let's hear a little bit about your history.
So I went to law school first because I thought I might be a lawyer. Knew within the first week I hated it, but I persevered and completed my law degree. That was a 3-year hard slog, let me tell you. And anybody who's listening who wants a career in the arts and their parents tell them, hey, maybe it's a good idea to have a backup, don't listen! Don't listen! Do what you want. Follow your dreams. Anyway, whilst I was at university, I went to Warwick University, which has a thriving musical theatre and theatre scene. Fun fact, you know, Operation Mincemeat, that's just like cleaning up at all the award ceremonies. I was at university with some of the creators of Operation Mincemeat. We were in the same musical theatre society as each other. So Warwick University was a great place to kind of find myself despite not wanting to follow the career path that I was studying. So I went from Warwick to London to the Royal Academy of Music to study musical theatre. And I started out, my first job was in Phantom of the Opera. I was a little baby. I was 21, 22 years old. And from that went on to Les Mis, which is my favorite musical of all time. So that was such a buzz. Well, I got to do the 25th anniversary production, which was the version now that's in town. So we were, the directors, Lawrence Connor and James Powell, were redirecting, you know, and that's kind of like reinventing the wheel, right? Redirecting Les Mis. But it was such a buzz as a fan of the show to get to be a part of that creative process. We got to tour around it with, you know, to Paris and to the Barbican and finish off the O2 Arena. So it was pretty epic. I did other bits and bobs of theatre, but then I spent the majority of the next decade presenting television, mainly children's television. And, you know, I got to do lots of like red carpet interviews with A-list celebrities. I got to do crazy stuff like skydiving and wing walking and diving with sharks and everything else that a children's TV presenter gets to do. And the highlight of that was being nominated for a Children and Young People's BAFTA Award for Best Presenter. That was just amazing. I did lose to the Blue Peter presenter, but hey, if you're going to lose to anyone, it might as well be one of them. And then I hung up my children's TV presenting shoes last April, and I said, I really want to get back into theatre. Like, I missed it so much. And I go to see a lot of theatre, and I started to feel the bug of like, I just want to be in it. So yeah, I started to go back to class, back to acting class, back to singing lessons, dance classes, got an agent again. I was like, sign me up, baby. And so this is my great return
How amazing is that?
theatre. Honestly, I pinch myself every day because, you know, I said I wasn't coming back with any expectations of that. Oh, the West End's been waiting for me. You know, they've all been waiting with bated breath. When will he return? When? So to actually land a principal role in a show that I love so much, bonus that I get to work with nice people as well. It's just wow, what a buzz.
There are so many jobs that when you're in them, you don't realize that they're special, and you look back on them later and think, God, that was a really happy time, or they were a really lovely company, or that was a great gig. And one of those jobs where you know that at the time, and I'm enjoying every day of this job and relishing the people we're with all the time.
Was it easy to gel? Like, was it easy for the cast to gel together?
Incredibly so, I thought. I'm waiting for Owain to go. No,
I hate them all.
He's speechless.
No, it really was. I mean, I like before starting, I had a real hope because none of us knew who else had been cast. But of course, you hope when you're part of a trio like Bernadette, Tick, and Adam. You hope. Well, I hope the other two are nice and we get on as a trio. And we really do, don't we?
Yeah.
And like, there'd be times in the early rehearsal days where they'd be doing a big ensemble number and the three of us would be free for a couple of hours. So we just kind of hang out and gel and get to know each other. And it was really reassuring, actually, that, because we had the original Australian creative team putting this together, and they'd comment saying, oh, they could see our chemistry developing. And you go, well, they've seen it a bazillion times. So that was really, really nice to have that. Yeah.
Amazing. So the show is very immersive. The dance floor, it's constantly moving, audience moving, the stage is moving, actors everywhere. Has there been any mishaps?
Ooh, well, the opening preview that we did, we had probably 400 odd people in, something like 300 odd people. And fair to say, the audience had started early and had started day drinking before our opening night. So when the show started, they were already wild. And by Act 3, it was off the reservation. Things were going a little bit silly. And there are a few times where the moving platforms very nearly squished a drunk middle-aged person between three drag queens on a moving podium and the stage on which they were about to dance. And it's like, you really, really, really need to move that woman. And no one got hurt, but good Lord, there were a couple of close calls early on.
It makes it all very exciting. Like, I think if you choose to view it as exciting.
Is it distracting at all for you guys? Like, do you find it really distracting if you pick someone out in the crowd and you're like, oh, I'm going to have to watch this one?
Yeah, we now have a traffic light system where we can alert the in-house stage management and security if we see someone who is becoming a worry, and they will then keep a little eye on that person and make sure they don't stray too far from the beaten track. But yeah, it's
you just make me like talking about that first preview, because so much of this, I keep saying to Dakota, more will be revealed, because there have been so many uncertainties and unknowns in this job, because the immersive element, that's something you can't rehearse really until the audience are there. And actually every audience is very different. Sometimes they're more akin to a traditional theatre audience. Sometimes it's a lot of people out for a good time. So you just never know. And that really can affect the energy of the show. But in the first preview, there are these, I mean, the choreography of the moving platforms is so cool, but we'd never rehearsed it with a full dance floor of people.
With a sea of people.
And the first move is when my character is being moved towards Dakota's character because there's a funeral, because Dakota's character's husband has died. So I'm getting changed into my funeral outfit on this moving platform, and it's not reached the other platform in time where I would usually enter beautifully as choreographed. And in a moment of madness, Kevin, I thought it was more important that I arrived to the bit of music that I'm supposed to arrive to. So I jumped like a proud gazelle from my moving platform into the funeral. It's like, oh my God. And afterwards I was like, now as an actor, where's the truth in that? When would you ever drop and roll into a funeral unless you're Indiana Jones? So yes, there's been a learning curve.
What is your definition of a perfect crowd?
Oh,
Because
that's a good question.
That's
because
such a good question.
yeah, because
We've had nights that are super rowdy, with sort of very drunk hen nights.
Rowdier than this.
Yeah.
Wherever the band is upstairs rehearsing, they are having a whale of a time.
So we have had nights where the audience have gone sort of a bit too far, really, and it's been a bit heckly and a bit too debauched and a bit too drunk. Typically, a Saturday night tends to turn out like that. And then you have other nights where the audience are incredibly polite and really reserved and very respectful, like they're sitting in a normal theatre watching a normal show. And somewhere in between is probably the ideal crowd, where they're loose enough to have some fun and dance along and have, join in the party, but not so hammered that they're, vomiting and shouting at actors in the middle of a quiet scene.
For me, there are two things that really stand out where I've seen older audience members who I assume are members of the LGBTQ plus community, and they are there in the finale with tears streaming down their face, and I'm going, thank you, thank you, thank you, because this story means so much to people. And, I've heard from some people, this is the first time that they've seen a representation of themselves on a big screen, that it wasn't like a kind of niche underground, oh my God, that Priscilla was big. It was an Oscar-winning movie.
of course.
So there's something about that means a lot to me, that I get to perform this story. And also the young queer kids, man, they get dressed up, they are loving, they are celebratory. Some of the reviews kind of questioned the relevance of telling this story, because it's from the 90s, it's a bit dated in places, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, sure, like any period piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you see these young, tween 20-somethings with their mates, exploring their identities and getting it, because I think that theme of self-celebration, self-acceptance, interconnectedness, and love, I mean, that's timeless. And when I see their response, I'm like, this most definitely has an important and relevant place in today's society.
In the past and the future, which is so exciting.
Yeah.
We've had, people who had a glorious, beautiful person who was dressed up to the nines in drag on the opening night, opening preview. And I happened to leave through the audience exit that night and bumped into this person. And I said, I just wanted to say, we're not allowed to say when we're on stage because we're in character and we ignore the audience. We're not supposed to know you're there. So I wanted to just look at you and go, yes, but I didn't because, part of the show. And this person turned to me and said, I haven't gone out of the house dressed up since 1997. Something terrible happened, and I don't want to talk about it, but something terrible happened. I haven't left the house, in drag ever since. And so we had a hug and we had a little cry, and and these moments that you go, wow, this is really, really connected with some people.
Goosebumps. Yeah,
it's wild.
I love those moments. Great moments. What does it feel like to transform into your character each night?
I love it. I love it. But you've got more of a transformation than I have.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly special. We have an incredible wigs, hair, and makeup team, and
otherwise known as Wham
team, led by Jackie Saundercock, who was our makeup supervisor and wig supervisor, and she designed the sort of Bernadette face that would work on me, and transform me. And I get to see that happen every night and have this incredible moment where I look in the mirror and the makeup artist doing my makeup, who's a wonderful girl called Carolina from Portugal. And she goes, she's back.
Oh, wow.
As she's doing it. And I look in the mirror and go, yeah, there she is. And there's this moment of sort of, elation that hits me every night. It never gets old.
I love that. The other part to that question would be, how do you wind down after the show?
I was actually talking to, oh my God, this is going to sound so showbiz, but I was talking to a life coach about this.
Are we in LA?
I was literally like, it's been an issue. Like, it's an issue for me. because I'm so stimulated, like, and it's a happy, fuzzy show, and we're in Soho, you know, it's like the place is bouncing.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the time I'd usually go to bed, but I'm wound like a top. So I tend to go to Sainsbury's and buy a family size pack of onion ring crisps, and I munch them all whilst watching TV. But I want to change this, Kevin, and now I'm saying this publicly. So the life coach and I made an agreement today.
That very showbiz anecdote got real non-showbiz, real.
And now the glamour when I'm there with my onion rings, like Gollum. Oh my gosh. So tonight,
What will the life coach say?
we're changing the routine. Tonight, when I get on the tube, I am going to listen to calm, meditative music, and I'm going to write a list of things that I'm grateful for.
Wow. I just get the tube home and watch TV and then go to bed.
Do you find that it's like a huge come down? Like you walk out of the theater after the madness of applause and such a fun night, and you like make your way to the tube, you sit down on the tube, and you're like, the night's over.
It's a bit of an anticlimax at times, to be honest. Yeah, when you leave, especially when you've scraped up everything, had a shower, and you leave, and the audience are maybe there's a few stragglers, but the audience are basically gone.
Yeah.
And you sort of go, right, now I'm just a queer in flares walk to the tube. Like, and you know, it can be a bit of an anticlimax. And you deal with the funny looks on the tube home, as I do every day, and that's okay. That's life.
Welcome to Soho.
Yeah, quite.
I do have to say I've passed Tottenham Court Road Station when you've had matinees, and when the crowd come out during the matinees, it's very entertaining.
A real moment in London's life, isn't it?
And it's usually the middle-aged group of women that are coming out. Hilarious.
Cackling and howling, wearing pink cowboy hats.
Stumbling.
Yeah. Being poured out of the venue.
Do you have any pre-show rituals?
You're a creature of ritual. Go on.
No, I do affirmations quite a lot, actually. So I when I'm sitting during the opening number and I'm the second number, so I'm sat backstage. I have puppets in my opening number. So I'm sat with my puppets in my blue dress, and I'm saying affirmations out loud. Like some of them, one of them is actually a bit rude. It's a Miriam Margolyes affirmation that I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, Kevin, so I won't.
There's no filter on my show.
Really?
Really?
Oh my gosh. Well, basically, Dakota showed me this video of Miriam Margolyes doing a cameo for somebody, and she was encouraging this woman to. Can you say it?
Yeah, she was encouraging a woman to not be scared of aging. It's a woman who's having her, I don't know, 60th, 70th, a later birthday. And she was saying, it's ridiculous. If you don't be old, you'll be dead. You've got to go out there and enjoy life with rings on your fingers and bells on your toes and diamonds in your cut. Owain howled at and then wrote it on his mirror in lipstick.
And that's what I'm repeating to myself. Behind that's an exclusive for you. I've not told anybody else that, Kevin.
Pull back the curtain. The process. You're talking about popping diamonds in your cunt.
Yes.
That's what you should be thinking about on the tube on your way home tonight.
Yeah, the press office is going to be delighted we shared this anecdote, aren't they?
Just to let you know, Kevin, it's almost time for us to go to warm up, and the rest of the cast are descending upon the dressing room. So
yes, let's wrap it up.
Let's go to the. Do you have those quick fire questions you want to do?
I do. What reality show would you turn down?
That's such a good question. Dancing on Ice for me. Dancing on Ice, because I think if I fell over on it, that like I'd be a bit scared of that one. Even though I really want to ice skate professionally really well, I think I'd be scared of that one.
Yeah, Strictly, I would turn down in a heartbeat. I love watching Strictly, but I would humiliate myself and break ankles. No, what? That's not cute.
It isn't good. No. Silliest fear you have?
Silliest fear.
Oh, I've got one. The sound of someone running their fingernail along the teeth of a comb. That noise
Really?
makes me want to vomit. Gross.
Really?
Pretty silly, but gross.
See, that is such an invitation to do it now. I'm gonna say bats. Not like baseball bats, bats.
The flying
and I
bats.
saw a picture today. Yes, I saw a picture today of some bat that has a wingspan of 6 feet. Like, that is some freaky stuff that I don't need to know exists.
Who would be the worst person to be stuck in an elevator with?
In the world?
Yeah.
Oh. Donald Trump?
Donald Trump dead naming me repeatedly.
Whoa!
That'd be low. It'd be a low moment in my life and a short moment in his life.
What song always puts you in a good mood?
Can't fight the feeling. Justin Timberlake. I have the feeling. See?
Yeah. I Love Me by Meghan Trainor. The banger.
Ooh, love
Real
that
banger.
one. Do you believe in aliens?
Yes.
Yeah, statistically probable. So, like, yeah, I don't think they're here, but yeah, sure, they exist somewhere.
Favorite podcast host you've ever met?
Kevin from the Kevjet, the podcast.
Here, I second that.
Who would play you in a film?
No, go on.
No, please. I want to say, but for ulterior motives, Jonathan Bailey or Zac Efron, just so that I could come onto set and meet them.
You can finish it just so I can come on.
No, I wasn't sure where we were going with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Just come on to that.
Hi, you're playing me. Hello.
What a privilege this must be for you.
Yeah.
I have no idea who would play me. Some poor unfortunate soul.
Describe yourself in 3 words.
Energetic, sensitive, and thoughtful.
Sensitive, funny, and irritable. That laugh tells you that's accurate.
What makes you happy in life?
My dog, Alfie, is a French bulldog, and he's amazing and always makes me smile and makes me feel loved.
On a similar vein, my kids make me very happy. Make me feel loved, so that's nice.
Last but not least, why should people come and see this show?
Because you won't see anything else like it on the West End at the moment. It's got amazing award-winning costumes. It's got a story that has so much heart, and the music is killer. And there's a dance floor for you to dance your socks off on.
I grew up with a lot of cis straight male friends. I went to a boys' school, and a lot of them have come to see the show because they're still friends and they're very supportive and kind. And without exception, they have hugged me afterwards with the biggest smile on their face and gone, "That was so much fun. That was so much fun." And it's, to me, been sort of lovely reassurance that it's like, this isn't just a rainbow show for a rainbow audience. This is really a show for everyone. And it is so much fun.
And the story is just timeless, as you said.
And still heartfelt and still relevant.
Amazing. I loved our conversation.
Thanks so much, Kev.
Thank you so much.
So sorry for the indie band that's sound checking upstairs.
As you can hear, this top of the range venue here at Outnet in Tottenham Court Road has a killer sound system. That's another reason.
That's the noisy dressing room.
Amazing. Thank you for your conversation. I'm going to come out. I'm going to come out and see the show again. I've seen the show once. I'm coming again, and I'm bringing friends.
Oh,
yes.
fabulous. That's what we want.
Amazing.
Thanks so much.